It's been a while since I reviewed a foreign horror film, so here goes. Veronica is a Spanish horror film directed by Paco Plaza, the director of Rec, or Record, whatever you want to call it. It stars Sandra Escacina, Bruna Gonzalez, Claudia Placer, and Ivan Chavero, I want to say. And it tells a supposedly true story of a teenage girl in 1991 Madrid who, while dealing with the death of her father, plays with a Ouija board. Doing so summons something evil that ends up targeting her and her family, and it's up to her to protect them. There are two things I want to bring up before I get into this. One, as I said, this is based on a true story, and how much of a grain of salt you want to take that with is totally up to you. But the film is, at the very least, factually based on the most publicized, supposedly paranormal case in Spanish history, during which several police officers actually testified to seeing some crazy paranormal shit. The second is this: at least one of you is going to get confused and watch the wrong movie on Netflix. There are two films, both from 2017, both entitled Veronica, both Spanish, and both on Netflix at the moment. This is the one that isn't in black and white. So how is Veronica as a film? Well, it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's gotta be incredible, right? Well, yes and no. Is it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes good? No, it's not fucking Lady Bird. It is worthy of praise, though, which is far more than I expected from a Ouija board-based horror flick. This film could have very easily been really generic and forgettable, especially since it doesn't do anything particularly new in regards to the genre. Thankfully, though, what it lacks in originality, it more than makes up for in execution. This is an exceptionally well-made film, but I can't really be super surprised by that, considering it came from Paco Plaza, the guy who gave us Rec, which is arguably one of the best found footage films ever made. Which ultimately made this movie even more refreshing because it proved that he can do things through a different cinematic lens as well. This is a very well-crafted film. It's really well shot and the sound design is absolutely extraordinary. There are a lot of really long, slow-moving, creeping takes that Plaza really uses as a means of building tension, and it works very well. Where this film particularly shines, though, is its realism. The sound design in this film, like I said, is exceptional. The sounds of the city and the neighbors and the siblings really serve to immerse you in the film, and at times, because of the incredible sound design in this film, you forget you're watching a movie. The danger in this movie feels a lot more real and frightening because it's all centered around kids. The oldest character in this movie is Veronica, and she's just, like, in high school. And she's stuck taking care of her three younger siblings because their mom sucks. The overall family drama feels real and very human and very raw. It's not manufactured, and ultimately that is what differentiates this film from every other thing like it. The acting in this film is also really excellent. All four kids give really solid performances, but the best and the most standout performance by far is Sandra Escacina, who I believe this is actually her first feature film. She absolutely carries this film as Veronica. Her growing paranoia and fear is palpable at all times, and it's her overall emotional range that really keeps this film feeling very real and genuine. Now, all that being said, this film isn't perfect. The plot is actually its main flaw, and I can't really fault it for that, I suppose, considering it is supposedly based on a true story, but it all just feels like it's been done before. There are a lot of elements in this film that feel derivative of other films. For instance, there are several sequences and some imagery in this film that harken back to The Conjuring 2, and even some that are very reminiscent of The Devil Inside, although this film does it much better in that case. The plot is just really standard, though. Because of that, it's fairly easy to predict every beat this story is going to take long before it takes them. Is it as scary as some of the clickbait headlines you're seeing? Not really. I mean, there are a couple really tense sequences, and there are some creepy images, some that just come from how wide Sandra Escacina can open her mouth, because Jesus fucking Christ. Like I said, it's all fairly standard. That does include the scare sequences, and while there are a few tense moments, most of them are really just expected scares that you can time down to the minute if you really try. That's not to say the film doesn't have its fair share of tense sequences. It does, but oftentimes it feels like the tension leading to the scare is better than the scare itself. I did enjoy Veronica, though. Was it overhyped a bit? Yeah. But was it worth my time? Absolutely. I'd recommend it to most people, because it does things a lot differently than most films of its species. It's far more focused on the human aspect of the story, and that's ultimately what keeps it feeling fresh. And I'm gonna say that Veronica is a must-see. Paco Plaza is a really excellent director, and I can't wait to see more from him. I really can't. It's funny, I actually think I had the opportunity to see this at Brooklyn Horror Fest last year, and instead I went to go see The Crescent, and we all know how that turned out. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. March is gonna be a fucking crazy month. There's a lot of shit coming out, and I'm gonna try and see all of it. If you like that, if you want to hear about a lot more movies, click down there and like and comment and subscribe, and check in the video description. I have a Patreon now. You can click on that and give me money if you want, and then my video quality will increase, and I'll get some cool new toys that I can make this channel better with. Thanks, guys.